Hi everyone, welcome to week 2. Thank you so much for participating last week. I enjoyed our conversations on the discussion board and I think we're off to a great start. Okay, so the topic for week 2 is secondary sources. There's some great information about secondary sources in the lecture materials, so I encourage you to carefully read them and go through all the links in the materials because they're very helpful. Our discussion board this week is on secondary sources, so we're going to spend some time discussing them and understanding their limitations and why they're useful. As a quick refresher for those of you who might not remember, we learned about secondary sources in both Introduction to Legal Studies and in Legal Research and Writing. And an example of a secondary source is a law review article or a restatement or a treatise. Basically, secondary sources are a good place to start if you're tasked with a research assignment where you don't have any background information on the topic. So typically, if I'm doing research on something I don't know, I'll go into Lexis and I'll go into the secondary sources database and I'll just type in whatever the topic is, and that could just pop up. It'll usually pop up with a bunch of law review articles or treatises, and I could just get some background information. And sometimes those secondary sources can point me to primary sources that are useful. So it's just a great starting point to understand a topic, and often you can use them to find primary sources. So we'll dive deep into this week on the discussion board. But if you have any questions before you start about secondary versus primary sources, please reach out to me. Okay, the second thing is a reflection this week. I really do enjoy reading reflections. Sometimes I think students think they might be a waste of time, but they're really not, because they help you to make connections between the work that we're doing and real life scenarios. It helps you to make connections between different areas of the law. And sometimes when you're restating something to someone, it makes you think of it differently. So it really is a good use of your time, and I really do read them. So please take your time on them and let me know if you have any questions about reflections in general. Okay, and then finally, the third item this week is another discussion board. Now, this will be the only time that we have 2 discussion boards. This separate discussion board is solely related to the portfolio project. So if you haven't done so already, please make sure that you print out or read the instructions and the fact pattern for the portfolio project. You'll recognize the fact pattern. It's the same as you had in Legal Research and Writing 1. It relates to Sweet Lorraine's Bakery and their possible trademark infringement issues. But this is taking it to the next step. And the reason this is useful is in a real world law firm, cases go on forever. I mean, I worked at a law firm for 8 years, and I worked on some of the same cases for years at a time. So it's not odd that you would have a client that continuously has issues that continue over time for a long period of time. And that's what we're trying to set up here with this continuation of the Sweet Lorraine fact pattern. So the purpose of this discussion board is for you to discuss with me and your classmates the facts, any questions you might have. It's giving you an opportunity to look through the whole portfolio project, also the midterm and the final, which you have access to under assessments, so you know what's coming up and you can have a better idea of the big picture. Try not to feel overwhelmed. You will be ready for each assignment as we get to it. But this is a good way just to get the big picture, to understand what's coming up each week, and to understand the facts and why they're important, and to ask any questions that you have for me, or any questions that you would have for the client or for the managing partner. This is a good time to brainstorm and to make the project seem more manageable. So I hope this is a useful exercise for you. And I do look forward to those discussions. So reach out to me with any questions about anything. I'm here to help, and I look forward to working with you in week 2. Thanks.